We're outside today. We're at my friend's garage. This is Mr. Ern. Here with Mr. Art and the boys. And we're looking at this Duratec. So this is the MZR 2-litre engine with a 6-speed gearbox. Fucking hell. And we've got some cold water. So MZR L, so it's the alley block with the 6-speed gearbox on it. We've got all the ancillaries apart from the air compressor, which we'll need to get hold of. But this is really what we're going to do for the Sierra. So really just, we've got the engine delivered here so we can come and inspect it. But I think I think it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. We could either buy a Duratec from a front-wheel drive car, like a Focus or whatever, or an Escape, and convert it to rear-wheel drive, which means making a new SARM, getting a flywheel, because all the Duratecs around Thailand are automatic, and obviously with an automatic you don't get a flywheel and a clutch. With this, it's already rear-wheel drive, it's already got the clutch and the flywheel and the 6-speed box, so as I say, it's a no-brainer. So welcome to the engine and box for our Sierra Cozzy replica. Alright, that is marked out with the cuts that I'm going to do to make the relief for the sump. I'm hoping that height is going to be enough to give us what we need to get the engine low enough and a little bit further back. So I'm going to just cut that out off camera. So cut out leaving a rib reminiscent of the old sidewall, so that if this does work I can put crisscross in there to stiffen it up like that. So blank that wall off and then just put some webs in there, reinforces it, because I think the stiffness of it is important and I can feel it a little bit sort of soft because you've got the compression of the track control arms in there, so I don't think we want it moving. Right, next morning, it's always good to wake up and have some ideas. And obviously the energy to roll around on the floor again. This is what I'm just about to do here. So yesterday I cut down the cross member, and you can see there we've got a good gap between the sump and the cross member on the back there, and then we've got the engine over the steering rack as it should be. Over the steering rack as it should be. And it's just actually sitting. I don't know where it's sitting there because I can see a little bit of a gap. Where is it sitting? It's sitting somewhere. I need to find out where that's actually sitting. You can see up there where it's touching on the gearbox. And yesterday I got the bonnet on. So engine is still sitting at an angle sloping towards the back, front sitting up, but the bonnet does go on, and I can also see the engine, the gearbox here is sort of still sloping down. Now we're touching on the gear lever hole in the tunnel, so I've probably got to cut the tunnel back in that area anyway. But that's not at the moment what's stopping us getting the gearbox higher. What I'm thinking is to drop the cross member here. Dropping the cross member here will drop the front of the engine down and well, change the angle. Drop the front of the engine down and change the angle, flatten it out a little bit. So I'm going to do it with washers first. So I'm going to take the strain of the engine with the hoist again, drop the cross member, pack that out with some washers, see how long my bolts are first. Might have to change them, but obviously I don't want to get too much involved in dropping the cross member or drop it too much, because it's going to start messing around with the steering geometry and maybe inducing bump steer or whatever. But we can fix bump steer by changing to spherical rod ends and spacers. So if we're going to lower the car, we probably want to do all that anyway. But step by step, next step, lift the engine off the cross member. Well, find out where it's touching first. I'll put the camera down in a minute and find out where that's touching, and then lift it off, space it down, and see what it does to the level of the box and engine. Let's go to the top for a minute. There you can see the engine with a bit of an angle there. It's also tilted over. I'm going to pull off that engine mount there, that leg, because it's just hooking up on the steering. I've got to make new ones anyway. There's no way I'm ever going to be able to use these. And then you can see in here there's the gear levers at the back of the hole there, but it still doesn't look like we're going to ever interfere with the handbrake, so we can just cut that out a bit. Cut that, I don't know what to do, maybe cut it out like that, so I can keep the design, cut through here, and I can shift that back, or whether to cut the whole thing out and move it as one. I'll think about that just before I cut it. Quite thick there, it's got a rolled edge, just double skinned, because it's got an insert in it. Right, okay. It's got an insert in it. It comes to about there, so I might just cut that whole thing out. So we're touching around here. So we'll also look at when the engine at the front drops, how that affects that there. But I think I've probably got to cut this tunnel out. I mean, where would you have that? Would you have that inside the car? Doesn't really matter, does it? Level with the hole's okay, but obviously you can't be touching. It appear to be, I don't know, a little bit far back. And it's difficult to maybe a bit. It's hard to sort of tuck the engine forward and get it sitting over here, over the rack. But I've got the spacers in there now. We've got 3 washers in there. I don't know what it is, about 8mm. But what I've got to do now, because it's still tilting back heavily, and it's still jammed up in the gear. It's this rib, it goes around here. It's hitting on a tunnel, it's stopping the box coming up. I think it's possible to get the box going farther forward. So if I can get the box higher, I'm going to do a pie cut. It's this rib here, and about that area. So I think what I'm going to do is pull this mastic off of here, this sound deadener, and then continue that cut there, and bend it up, wing it out, and then I can put a wedge in there. If I need to weld that back, well, I do need to weld that back up again, but I can peel that out and then weld a wedge in there. So there's 2 things I'm going to do now. Is I'm going to cut that out, cut the hole out, and then get the mastic off of there, the sound deadener, and continue that cut around there. I think this is all in clearance, all the rest of it. I'll get under and check again, but I think there's quite a bit of clearance through this section. So cutting out that hole and making that pie cut there to try and get the engine with the gearbox up a bit because you can see it also touching on that bolt there. So the same thing that side, we'll clear that. So it's just removing that sound deadening for me. So I can cut it, because you can't cut that stuff. You can cut through it with a blade, but just through in the blade. Trimmed that back the sound deadening there, so that's my cut. Same on this side. I've also done the same around the gear hole. This is double skin. There's a bracket goes around here, spot welded in. So I've tried to tape to what I think will clear the bracket, and yeah, we'll just load the gearbox down to do that for now. Hopefully I'm a bit more concerned, but it should be okay. I don't want to fill the gearbox full of grindings, but if I'm going this way and that way and that way and that way, then it should be okay. But let me get a rag. Now with rag. Actually, it looks like I misjudged the cut. It doesn't cut through 2 levels. Right. It's alright with that, just plonk. It's alright, that actually, not too bad, still intact, didn't cut through it. Okay, now we have a Wunderbar massive hole in the gearbox tunnel, so no restrictions. And now what I want to do is make those peel cuts there. This is my morning yoga class. We're off to a party very shortly. This is actually Saturday the 3rd of June 2023, and in 3 days time our comrade Mr. Alex K is 50 years old, so we're going to celebrate his birthday this afternoon early, because a long weekend, so those that work for offices and whatnot will have recovery time starting at around 2-3 o'clock. So it's now around midday, so I'll make these cuts, do a little jiggery pokery, and then I'll probably disappear. How far down am I going to cut this? Am I going to go all the way? It's only welding, isn't it? In for a penny and for a pound, let's go all the way, right. Not off course, but we'll hide the evidence, nobody will ever know. It doesn't really matter anyway. Not actually just going to peel off, is that? It's got a return curve on it. More cuts, more cuts. More cuts than the NHS. Right, I'm just going to do something here. As they keep telling us, it's only metal. Right. How about that, Mr. Austin? So bend that around there as well, and we'll work out the beautification of it later. I need to come over there and cut that one. Really, rack out, cross member out, engine down onto the table frame thing, and then we're going to lift the body off the car and take the car away so that I can work on the engine mounts. Let's do this out a little bit. Should be enough. Don't know. Probably need to jack the engine up a bit. Yeah, doesn't slip. Ow. Oh, that was my head. Austin,
Yes.
and I drop this down,
Yeah.
the washers between this cross member and the chassis.
Yeah.
We're just going to have to collect them.
Okay.
This is the last. Just like sitting on the table, so it's all right. Right, let's slide it out. Right. Take it right out. Drop it on the deck. Take it away. Jack out now.
On the bottom.
Well, there's only one jack.
Jack stand on it?
Can you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's relatively safe on the hammer. We'll see. So I need the hammer, I don't know how I have to go back away or. Still got to get the front over. I don't want to run over the distance for higher. handbrake on?
Yeah.
No. I've been talking about wheels.
No, there's a jack.
Take jack out, mate. Move that wire. There.
Yeah.
Now you have to move the other stuff that's in the way. Right, well, that's probably about it. You need to pick the axle stands. You on that side?
Yeah.
Right, engine is set up now on an axle stand, a stool, and got the cross member slid under there with a rack. Really pretty much where it should go. Maybe some height changes. I was thinking of putting a packer round the rack so that sort of sets the gap that I'm going to need on it. We'll do that later. What we're going to do now is that's the old engine mount, which ain't going to be any use really. Needs to be sort of a lot longer, probably lower. I was thinking of doing a World Cup cross member type arrangement. Use some suspension bushes in here, build out some arms, build some arms up to it, and go that route. Because the Cush type of engine mount are obviously taking up a lot of room, give you a fair bit of wobble. And I don't want to have massive wobble with the risk of bumping or vibrating on the cross member or the tunnel or this, that and the other. So it's going to be fairly stiffly mounted. So what I'm going to do first is get my old Frosty's Cocoa Pop cornflake type box out. There you go, even Cocoa Frosties. And I'm going to make a template out of paper, sorry, out of card.